Alright guys, this one's not for you Malaysians, so if you're Malaysian watching, don't worry, you can skip this one. Thanks for stopping by, but maybe watch one of my other videos. And also, don't forget to subscribe. Come on guys, subscribe. We only need 200 more people before Uncle YouTube gives me some more money. Have all the Malaysians gone?
Okay, so if you're still here, I'm just going to assume that you are a foreigner who's thinking about moving to Kuala Lumpur to live. If that's not you, this video is not for you. You can leave.
Bye bye!
As someone who's been living in Kuala Lumpur now for 2 years, on and off, I have a pretty good idea about the pros and cons, or should I say the real pros and cons, from the perspective of a Westerner. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Woo! These are things that I wish someone would have told me before I moved here. And then you can decide if it's a good place for you or not. But you can't say that I didn't tell you. Let's start with the pros. So, number one has to be the weather. The weather in Kuala Lumpur is amazing. Every single day is hot. I'd say about 30 to 35 degrees on average. Blue skies. If you look on the weather apps, like if you check now on Apple Weather, you'll probably see that it says rain, 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 rain every day. Now, I don't know why it says that. I'm sure maybe somewhere in Kuala Lumpur it's raining. But what's pretty common here is that you'll just wake up in the morning, it's beautiful sunshine, and around 5 or 6 p.m. it might pour with rain for an hour, and then back to beautiful sunshine. It's very strange. I don't know why it happens, but it rarely rains for more than 1 hour. And I would say like throughout the year, 80% of the time is just sunshine. Every now and again, you'll get like 1 week of really, really bad weather if like a storm is passing through town. And that's when you're going to really get serious rain. As long as you can handle the heat, it's beautiful here. Don't bring any long sleeve t-shirts. The second positive about living in Kuala Lumpur is that everyone speaks English. So it's pretty easy to communicate with people. You know, I've lived in Vietnam, I've lived in Bali, I've lived in Thailand, in some of the most popular destinations of Southeast Asia. And even though they still speak English in the major cities there, not everybody will speak English. And every now and again, you'll struggle to communicate with a person. But here in Malaysia, English is completely widely spoken. Although they have their own version of English, you know, it's like a Malaysian English, which it can be very hard to understand at times, and it's going to take you a while to get used to their sayings, and you know, it's a very broken type of English, but they still speak it. So much easier for Westerners, as long as you speak English, of course. The third pro for me has to be the supermarkets. They are amazing. Like I say, compared to its neighboring countries, living in Vietnam, I mean, you want peanut butter, good luck. You have to go to a specialist place, or if you're lucky, you'll find like a really shitty jar of peanut butter, like a very mass-produced American, like Jiffy peanut butter, you know, really poor quality one. Where, for instance, if you want peanut butter here, you just go to one of the fancier supermarkets here and you'll have 20 varieties, natural ingredients, organic, sugar-free, oil-free. It really is wonderful here to go to the supermarkets and see the variety of foods and ingredients that they have. A lot of imported ingredients for all you Brits. You can get Nando sauce, you can get imported cheeses from Italy, wines. You will pay a lot more for cured meats, for cheeses and for wines than you would back home, but at least you can still get it. You know, even when I was living in China, you could get some of this stuff, but you weren't sure if it was legit. Some of it felt a bit fake, and you could only buy it online, and you'd have to wait like 5 days for it to get delivered. So the convenience of just being able to go down the road to the supermarket and get anything that I want, Greek yogurt, olives, hummus, anything, it's all available. Another pro of living in Kuala Lumpur is just, I would say, as long as you live in one of the expat communities, so in Bangsar or Mont Kiara, very, very easy to make friends with expats. There still aren't that many foreigners here that it feels completely normal to run into a foreigner, especially outside of these little expat bubbles. Because places like Mont Kiara feel like such a small town and such a small community, you'll continue to see the same faces over and over again, just going out for a morning coffee, going for a walk. So it's very easy to just get to know each other and be like, hey, where are you from, and meet up super easily for coffees and go to the gym and whatever. So anywhere that you go in these expat bubbles, you will make friends with other expats. It's super, super easy. One of my favorite pros of living in Kuala Lumpur is how good the Western food is here. Not just how good it is, but also how cheap it is to eat out. I don't know anywhere in the world except maybe Canggu in Bali that has this quality of Western food for this low of a price. So the price to value is unmatched. You can go and get avocado on toast brunches, burgers, pizzas, anything that you want. Like, you know, fancy. Even if you crave something like Spanish tapas food or Korean barbecue, or basically you can eat almost any main meal for 30 ringgit. Between £5 and £6. It's ridiculous. The quality of the food is amazing. It's not quite at the level of Canggu, but it's a close second. Every night of the week, you can eat something completely different in a new restaurant. You'll never get bored, especially in a place like Mont Kiara that has just such a huge variety of foods. And actually, I think it works out much cheaper than even going to a supermarket and buying the ingredients to make the same Western foods at home. Another pro of living in Kuala Lumpur, it's quite a simple pro, but it really certainly does help, is the fact that it's a very cashless society. So almost everywhere will accept card payments. Almost anywhere will accept Apple Pay. So you can pay super easily with just a tap of your iPhone, which means the money will come out directly from your bank account back home. Don't have to worry about conversions. Absolutely no need to have money unless you want to eat in the mamaks or the stalls. They also have their own little QR payment system here called Touch and Go. But to be honest, I never needed it because Apple Pay is just so widely accepted. So yeah, another pro, no need for cash. While we're on the subject of money, another pro that I love is just, it's a major city, which means they have all the big brands. You know, if you need to go to the Apple store, you can get to an official Apple store, not just an Apple reseller. You can go to Adidas, Nike, get all the latest stuff that gets released. So they have all the big brands here. It's not like if you live in Vietnam and even living in Saigon in the big city, it's still going to be rare that you're going to get the top latest apparel and stuff from the luxury brands. It's going to take them 6 months, 1 year before they arrive to Saigon. And in Bali, forget it, the choice is just very little. You'd have to go all the way out to like Denpasar to a shitty little mall with very limited choice. Another pro is the luxury for less lifestyle here. Really, with your average Western salary of say £2,000 to £3,000 or dollars a month, you can live like a king out here, guys. I'm talking rooftop condos with pools, gyms, security. The kind of life that you could only dream of back home, or that you could only imagine millionaires living back home, is right at your doorstep here. The ninth pro of living in Kuala Lumpur, and this one's a little bit spicy, just how easy it is to date women here. Let's just say the Malaysian population is not the most athletic that you'll ever meet, and there is a thing that the Malaysians, especially the women, still see the foreigners as a bigger, higher status to get a foreign boyfriend. So there's a lot of variety and a lot of choice for you here as a Westerner. And it's really easy. There's very little competition from the local guys, and the women don't often pick the local guy, even if they are available. So I'm not saying come here for all you passport bros, but what I am saying is if you get girls back home, you're gonna be playing on easy mode out here. And finally, maybe my most favorite pro of living in Kuala Lumpur has to be the Grab app. I absolutely love this app. I can't live without it. It's basically part of my everyday. Maybe where the majority of my money goes after rent is to Grab. And that's just because they make it so easy to get anything that you want. You can order food from any restaurant. It gets delivered to your door. And for some reason, they always give you a discount. So it ends up being cheaper to get delivery than it is to actually go to the restaurant and sit down and eat. Which is ridiculous because you've got to pay for the delivery fee, but then Grab will give you 7 or 14 ringgit off, and every now and again they'll do like a buy one get one free, and you'll get one meal for buy one get one free, so you'll get the second meal for free, plus they'll give you 7 to 12 ringgit off as a discount. At the end of it, they're basically paying you to eat. It's ridiculous, but you get super used to it. And of course the taxis are fantastic. Just booking a Grab and going anywhere that you want in the city, especially those 6-seaters, guys. Oh, I love booking those 6-seaters. The only thing I wish was that there were more electric cars, because China just kills Malaysia for the cars. The quality of the 6-seaters in China, those electric, beautiful Xpangs, and here they have, I don't want to call them the shitty Toyotas, but the gas-guzzling Toyotas. You really notice the difference, especially in luxury. So yeah, the Grab app, can't live without it. Okay, now for the fun part, let's talk about the cons of living in Kuala Lumpur. One unescapable con is just the inequality of the lifestyles between the locals and the foreigners, but also between the locals and the rich locals, should we say. It's a strange society of Indians, Chinese and Malay all living together, but you don't have to stay here for long to realize that there is a huge caste system, right? So the Malays get a lot of money for free from the government and get a lot of privileges, which doesn't really incentivize them to want to work much. Then you have the Chinese who basically run all the businesses, they start all the businesses. And then at the bottom, you've got just all the Indians who are all the employees. So all the service staff, the security guards, the builders, they're always usually Indians. See, once you notice the inequality in their lifestyles, it's especially because they're all supposed to be Malaysian, right? They're all under one Malaysian banner, but they get treated completely differently with completely different rights. The second major con is just, obviously because they get paid so little here, the average salary I think is like 2,300 ringgit, or maybe even lower. I think it's like 1,800 minimum wage. So, you know, if you think of your average McDonald's worker or restaurant staff, they get paid so little that they just don't care about working, which means the service is going to be terrible. Everywhere you go, people are just doing the minimum. And I mean the minimum. You'll be lucky you order some food at a restaurant, you'll be lucky if you get the plate, never mind if it's the right thing that you ordered. So yeah, they have a long way to go in terms of service economy. Now, let me say, this isn't everywhere. If you go to the fancier places, you will get very good service. You know, if you watch one of my recent videos of going to Bistro Leia, but you know, you're paying 10 times the average price, but you're getting 10x the service as well. You'll actually get your food on time. And one thing they really haven't managed to figure out in Malaysia is when you order food and there's more than one of you at the table, how to bring all the food at the same time. It seems like something that they just really can't do. So one of you will get your food. If you go for a dinner, so if you go for dinner with 4 of your friends, one of you get your food, another one will get it 10 minutes later, the third one will come 20 minutes later. By then you've already finished eating and the other one's just starting. It's ridiculous. Another con of living here is, this might be a pro for you, the city feels void of ambition. You know, people are doing the minimum. Like I said, maybe that's something to do with just how low they get paid. But anyone who has any ambition or wants to start something or wants to work in a high-paced, high-powered job, they just have to leave, because the culture here doesn't reward you for being ambitious. It rewards you for being one of the sheep and one of just not breaking the mold. One of my Malaysian friends told me a story that when she was going to work, at her lunchtime, she would make a salad and bring it to work with her, and her Malaysian colleagues would make fun of her for eating a salad, where, why aren't you coming and eating fried chicken with us every lunchtime? You know, so it's like, don't rock the boat, don't try to be better, don't try to improve yourself, come on lah, just do the minimum. If you're ambitious, or should I say if you're not ambitious, this might be the place for you. If you're big on self-improvement or you want to grow as a person, I think you'll get tired here pretty quickly. The next con of living in Kuala Lumpur is, how can I put this? Well, Malaysia is number 7 in the world for diabetes. The average Malaysian walks 3,000 steps a day and eats a lot of oily fried foods. Let's just say it's not the easiest to find people who are not overweight, and I mean really overweight. This is the fattest country in Southeast Asia and people just don't care. They really don't care. When you talk to them about it, it's like, who cares, we're all gonna die lah. Which also makes dating a little bit more tricky, because if you're fit and you keep in shape, you also want a girl that keeps in shape and is fit. But I would say 80% of the women that you see here are big boned. Okay, con number 6. For most people, this is a pro, and this is the Malaysian food. Now, if you're backpacking and you're just passing through Kuala Lumpur, yes, of course, the Malaysian food is a pro. Because in that case, you're only here for a week, couple of days, and yes, you want to eat unhealthy street food and be like, wow, it's so cheap, and oh, it's so delicious and covered in butter and oil, and oh, so spicy. Yeah, I get it. I was there when I was backpacking too. Yes, as a backpacker passing through town, the Malaysian food is a pro. But when you're living here day to day, the Malaysian food is a huge con, because it's covered in palm oil. They cook in canola oil. They use the worst quality oils you can think of. Every meal must be over 1,000 calories. Just oil, sugar, it's just delicious poison. Now, it is delicious. I'm not going to say it's not delicious, but the quality of the food is terrible, the local food. And if you don't have the money to eat Western food in the nice restaurants that I go to, and you have to eat the local food, there's no point retiring, because you're not going to be around for much longer. The next con follows on from that is just how hard it is to find healthy food. There are only a few specialist restaurants that really you can find healthy food. And when I say healthy food, I'm talking with a mix of vegetables, without oil, without added sugar, with at least 20 grams of protein. Borderline impossible. You have to go to maybe Juiceria or maybe Cura, you can get some grilled meats. But it's very, very few places, I would say, that will cater to serving you some healthy food. And of course, even if you do find it, you're going to be paying double or triple than the local food price for the right to eat healthy. In fact, I would say the best way to go bankrupt in Malaysia is to open a healthy smoothie bar or a healthy food restaurant, because nobody will come there. They're much more interested in eating cakes and ice creams and oily noodles with rice and fried chicken. The next con of living in Kuala Lumpur has to be just how polluted the city is. You know, people like to talk about China being polluted, but actually, when I went to China, there's such a green revolution happening. All the cars are electric, that the air quality is much, much better than in Malaysia and in Kuala Lumpur. Malaysia is still a oil economy, so they haven't got the incentive to go green as much as they do in China. So a lot of the cars are still gas guzzling cars. The standards are low, so, you know, even those big trucks that with the black smoke coming out the back of the cars are still fine here, and you'll see regularly on the streets. The other thing is it's so hot here, like day to day, that just walking down your average street with all the food vendors along the sides, that oil that's just been sitting there all day frying the same piece of the chicken over and over again, just the smell is disgusting. The streets, unless you're staying in a nice area like Mont Kiara, the streets do not smell very nice, guys. And if you are scared of rats, this might not be the place for you, because you're going to see some big juicy mamas crossing the road. And I'm not talking about the Malaysian girls. Okay, we have reached the final con of living in Malaysia / Kuala Lumpur. And really, this is why I told the Malaysians to leave the video at the beginning. And that is because they are super, super, super patriotic. But patriotic in a way that a lot of them haven't lived anywhere else. So they have a very closed mind of the world. They think that the way they do everything is the best, and they are not shy to tell you about it online in the comments, especially when they're hiding behind avatars and fake profiles. But in person, of course, they hate confrontation. But behind the keyboard, behind the avatar, do they love to talk shit. But hopefully we won't have any of those problems, because they've all gone, right? There's no Malaysians watching this, especially not till the end of the video. If there are, please subscribe. Anyway, guys, I don't want you to think that I hate living in Kuala Lumpur. Far from it. I love it here. I have the best life here. Life is easy. As long as you have money, you're a Westerner, you're semi-good looking, you're going to have a very good time here. But I also believe in being honest with people. And I know that for some of you foreigners, some of these pros and cons are going to be non-negotiable. So I always think it's best that you know before you come. If you have plans for living a much slower lifestyle and you're looking for a place to retire, I actually would recommend Kuala Lumpur. I think it's a great city to live. Not to visit, don't come here as a tourist, it sucks. But to live, I think it's wonderful. You can really live a life of luxury. The prices will be going up year on year on year, so get here quickly. But you know, to live in a big condo, your own apartment, pool, get food delivered to you, eat out in restaurants every meal, get fancy coffees, have some beautiful women, as long as you can hunt them down wherever they're hiding. What more could you want, guys? But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you can see that I've been completely honest with you. Again, this is just my opinion, guys. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And yeah, get ready. I think a new chapter's coming soon. Get ready for a new city. Can you guess where it is? Write in the comments, and let's see if you're right. All right, guys, have a good day. I'm off for a massage.